Greetings, faithful. This is Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, and I want to go ahead and give a huge shout out to OAW patron 007. Shout out to you again, fam, for requesting this review. And without further ado, this is going to be my review of the 2010 action comedy film Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
All right. Greetings. Thank you, everybody watching live. Thank you, everybody, for popping in after the fact. Once again, Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, here to bring you all a live movie review. We're going to go ahead and start doing these things live again, at least for the time being, since, everything that's going on and whatnot. Hope you all are doing well. Hope you all are staying safe and whatnot. But yeah. Time to get back on the bandwagon and start knocking out some more of these movie reviews. And as I mentioned before at the start of this video, another huge shout out to OAW patron 00 Soldier for requesting this film. And this week, this will be this week's movie review. This week, we are taking a look at Scott Pilgrim versus the World. That's right. Yes, we are. All right. So real quick, as in previous reviews, what I'll do is I'll give you all a brief little rundown about the film, and then I'll share my thoughts on the film accordingly. I'll try to keep it as spoiler free as possible for those of you all who have yet to see the film. And we might have some people pop in for this live stream. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll see. All right. So and for this reviews summary, I'm actually going to go ahead and reference the description box. Yeah, so by all means, click the description box and follow along. All right, so yeah, this is my review of the 2010 action comedy film Scott Pilgrim versus the World, starring Michael Cera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Chris Evans, Brandon Routh, Mae Whitman, Anna Kendrick, Kieran Culkin, Alison Pill, Brie Larson, and Jason Schwartzman. The film is based on the graphic novel series by Bryan Lee O'Malley and is co-written, produced, and directed by Edgar Wright. Synopsis. As bass guitarist for a garage rock band, Scott Pilgrim has never had trouble getting a girlfriend. Usually the problem is getting rid of them. But when Ramona Flowers skates into his heart, he finds she has the most troublesome baggage of all. An army of exes who will stop at nothing to eliminate him from her list of suitors. So very brief, very, very brief synopsis of the film. Very brief synopsis of the film. All right, yeah. So essentially, what the movie is about, as I once again, very brief synopsis. So yeah, Scott Pilgrim pretty much tells the story of a kid named Scott Pilgrim who comes across, who meets a young woman named Ramona Flowers, falls in love with her, and discovers that for some odd reason, just based upon the absurdist rules of this film's universe, she can only be his girlfriend once he has defeated her 7 evil exes. So yeah, the movie had intentionally has a video game plot where he literally has to defeat each ex, right? Just like bosses in a video game, one by one, and the prize that he wins at the end of the film is he gets to be Ramona's boyfriend. That is essentially what this film is about. I'm not joking when I said that. That is actually what this film is about. And yes, Edgar Wright did co-write, produce, and direct this. Yes, Baby Driver, Edgar Wright. That one. Yeah. All right. Okay. So, thoughts on Scott Pilgrim versus the World. All right. So for everybody watching, I just feel like now should be the time to let you all know. Get your rotten tomatoes ready, your rotten cabbages, your rotten beets, right? Spinach, For some of you all who have stones in your back pocket or a bucket next to you, get ready to cast them stones, man. I am not a fan of this film. I am not a fan of this film. Not at all. No, and here come the boos and here come the thumbs down. I'm already seeing them. I'm already seeing them. Yeah, I am not a fan of this film. Never was. Never was. So it is a little difficult for me to go ahead and to critique this film objectively because I have to put personal taste aside, right? I have to take this as much as I can, take the subjective out of it. I have to be able to actually critique this thing as objectively as possible, right? So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk about the things I think actually work the best in the film. And then I'll start to break down the things I think don't work so well. And then I'll wrap this thing up with just like what my, taste issues with the movie were. So, yeah, so let's break this thing down. Right. Let's get objective about it. Let's go into the workshop and let's talk about what works. Okay, so the first thing I will give this film credit for, the casting is probably the best thing about this film. The casting is really strong, really strong. And there were a couple of surprises because okay, so the thing is, I've only ever seen this film twice, right? I've only ever seen it twice. I saw it when it first came out on Blu-ray. Yeah, when it first came out on Blu-ray. Um, this was I saw it on New Year's Eve of 2010. So like New Year's Eve night, New Year's Day morning, 2010. 2010/2011. That was the first time I had seen this film, and before this request was the only time I had seen it because that's how much I didn't care for it, right? And then recently I went back to rewatch it for this review. And so I forgot because once again, we're talking about like a decade, right? Like how many recognizable faces that I've noticed that were part of this cast. So once again, like I said, Kieran Culkin, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Macaulay Culkin's younger brother. He's in this. He's really good. Alison Pill, she's another actress that I became familiar with later on because I love her in The Newsroom. She's in this. I forgot she was in this. And of course, like because we know about the big names, right? We know about Chris Evans. We know about Brandon Routh. I forgot Mae Whitman was in here. Anna Kendrick was one that I was surprised to see in here. The other, oh my God, what's the other chick's name? The one that always has like that. She never smiles. She's a comedian now on TBS. I always forget her name, but like she's in here too. So there are a lot. There are a lot of names in this film now that were like rookies back then, right? And they've made names for themselves since. Um, so that was surprising. That was surprising to see. And like I said, the casting is strong because the actors and actresses in this film, like regardless of what I think about the material, their performances are still good. Like they fulfill Aubrey Plaza. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Yes. Aubrey Plaza is in this too. I was like, oh my God, she's in this. So yeah, so like I said, regardless of the material, the actors and actresses do a really good job with what they're given. And they portray the characters very well. Like I can't knock them. Here's the other thing too. I'll bring him up once again because I brought him up in my Fantastic Mr. Fox review. I know I brought him up at some other point in time since then, but you all will remember Jason Schwartzman, right? Got to talk about Jason Schwartzman, right? And because I said in my Fantastic Mr. Fox review for the longest time, I was not a fan of Jason Schwartzman, right? This was one of those movies that made me not a fan of Jason Schwartzman, right? And I had to kind of come around on him once I saw him in other stuff. Even then, even with the character of Gideon that he plays in this film, as much as I don't care for that character, his performance is still good, and I can't take away from his performance. So all in all, and I'm not a Michael Cera fan at all. Like, I don't care for Michael Cera in most of the movies he does. Not a fan of him at all. He still plays this role well, right? Mary Elizabeth Winstead, I've always kind of liked ever since Sky High. I've always kind of been a fan of her. And she's good in this too. She's good in this too. Anyway, I said all of that to say this. As I said, regardless of the characters, regardless of the material, regardless of the actors and actresses, the performances are still good. All right. Did we get that? We settled that? All right. That's the one thing I will give the film. That's kind of the only thing I can give the film. That's kind of where the kudos stop. So let's start talking about what I think doesn't work so well in the film. All right. Number one. You know what? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the bare bones stuff, and then we'll get more into the writing. Yeah. Yeah. That sounds good. All right. As soon as I can get my screen share pop back up. All right. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the effects. Now, yes, I understand this film was made, over 10 years ago. Of course, we've come, much farther in terms of CGI, in terms of special effects, in terms of integration and all that type of jazz. Here's the thing, though. I don't think that the film has aged very well in terms of its special effects. And this is what I mean by it. Because what Scott Pilgrim is trying to do is it's trying to incorporate video game elements into the film, right? Like that's what it's referencing, right? Because the entire film is one big video game reference, right? So and some of the references I think are actually better than others. Case in point, like the music and the sound effects, I actually think work a lot better than the visual effects. Here's the thing about the visual effects, though. Because the visual effects are supposed to be video game like, when we are doing live action footage, they don't integrate as well. They're not incorporated as well. Because just because there's too much of a disconnect. There's too much of a disconnect. You know what I mean? This would not be a problem if this was an animated film. If this was an animated film, this wouldn't be an issue. Even if it was a CG animated film, wouldn't be an issue. But the fact that we are doing live action, and then and here's the other thing too. Not only are we incorporating video game like graphics and like video game special effects, it's different generations of video games too. So it's not even like we're doing like what would have been circa 2010, like 2010, right? So what is that? That's 360, that's Xbox 360 and PS3, right? Like we're not incorporating that generation of games. Like we're going all the way back to like arcade style, retro video game stuff. But to me, that wasn't incorporated as well as it could have been. Like I said, a different media would have changed it. If and then here's the other thing too. The fact that it's a live action adaptation of a graphic novel, which for any of you all who have seen or read the graphic novel, it's a very stylized, cartoonish graphic novel. At no point in time does the graphic novel try to pass itself off as like realistic. Not at all. It's very, 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 very stylized and very caricatured. If this was an animated film in the style of the graphic novel, you wouldn't be hearing me talk about this. Seriously, you wouldn't. Just because certain media, those effects lend themselves better to different mediums. They just do. And yeah, and so because we're talking about 2010, right? Even with films that look more like video games that are trying to pass themselves off as realistic. So 2010, what is this? This is 2 years before Avengers. This is 2 years before The Amazing Spider-Man 1. This is 2 years before the Michael Bay Turtles. This is, I think, 3 years before The Hobbit. Like, we have seen movies that had CG, the like video game esque CG, right? That I still think work better in those films than what was incorporated here. Now, I also will concede the notion that had I seen this on the big screen in theaters, I might have had a different read on it the first time I saw it. Cause when like the scene where there is the battle of the band scene where there's like the playoff, if you will, right? And they do the whole like double dragon thing. Like I'm pretty sure in theaters that was impressive as hell. But and to be fair, when I rewatched the film, I was watching it in 4K, so that I do concede that fact that could have influenced this opinion. Yes, I am aware of that. I don't think the effects worked. I really don't. I don't think they worked that well, in my opinion. In my opinion, I don't think they did. So, okay, so that's the first thing. The effects, not that great. Um, in that same vein, I will also very in that same vein, I'll go ahead and I'll talk about some of the choreography too for the film. Why are we talking about choreography? Because this film was sold and it was billed very much on the action. Because once again, if we are talking about, it's inspired by video games, it's referencing video games, it's incorporating all of that into the material. We have to talk about the fights. The fights are the main event. That's why people went to go see this movie, right? And as absurd as the fights are, as absurd as they are, like I said, we're using, we're referencing video games, we're referencing comics, we're referencing, those are the big two. Those are the big two, video games and comics. The blend, I think, doesn't work for all of these fights. I would probably say the two best might be Chris Evans and Brandon Roth's fight. And I think Brandon Roth's fight might actually be the best one because it's the one where the effects were the least jarring, right? Which is kind of crazy because the Brandon Roth fight, dude. I mean, we were referencing DBZ hard. Brandon Roth goes Super Saiyan in the scene and whatnot, right? But the way the scene is shot and whatnot, it didn't take me out as much as the other ones, right? Because like the ones, like I said, during the Battle of the Bands, even the final one with Gideon, those they just seem too jarring. I, I it took me out, and like I say, I understand it's supposed to be an absurdist world, an absurdist universe, all that jazz. It just kind of took me out. Some of what we're doing, incorporating, doesn't work. Yeah, that includes the choreography. Some of the choreography is off. I know that the actors did a lot of their own stunts, which there's actually a joke about that with Chris Evans' character in his fight scene, right? But yeah, some of the wire work, some of it's not as tight. It's not as tight. Um, yeah, it's not as tight. All right. God, I know I'm gonna get so many dislikes for this. I know I am, but oh well, you know how it is. It is what it is, what it is. All right. Now let's talk about the story. Let's talk about the story. And let's talk about the story. And since we're talking about the story, this is where I'm going to start getting into some of the taste issues. Wow, I'm already almost 20 minutes in and I haven't even gotten on the story yet. So I'm pretty sure on the replay, I probably will have lost most people by the time they get to this point in the review. But you know what? That's fine. All right, so let's talk about the story. So the biggest reason why Scott Pilgrim didn't appeal to me, never appealed to me, why I never cared for it. Just based off the premise alone, I thought was ridiculous. Um, because it's the notion. Bear with me bear with me on this one, guys. The notion that a guy would have to do physical combat with with a girl's exes in order to be with her in the first place is such a ridiculous premise. I simply could not condone it. I just could not get behind it. And dude, I remember when this film came out because all of my friends they were so gun ho about it. They were so stoked for it. This is that and the other, and I'm like, dude, this this is. I'm trying to use my words very, very carefully and very, very, very cautiously. But the film is a dweeb's wet dream. This film is y'all bear with me. You know what? But this is OAW. Y'all come for the raw and y'all come for the real. So I'm gonna be raw and real with y'all. This is the most blue pill beta bullshit I've ever seen. And and even before I knew that terminology, over a decade ago, it always rubbed me the wrong way. It always rubbed me the wrong. I'm like, dude, what? Why? Why? Never mind the fact that I don't think any man should be qualifying himself for a woman in the first place, but to take that premise, to take that notion, and to extend it to such an absurd, it, 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 dude, it is baffling. It was always baffling to me, and it's even more baffling now when I think about it because I think about like all my friends who just fucking like just love this fucking movie, right? And then for the record, this movie was a total box office bomb, right? Like it didn't even make a quarter of its money back, right? But afterwards it became like a cult classic because it was so well received by like critics and shit because it has like 84% on Rotten Tomatoes or some shit like that. And but like the fan base grew even more after its release. And I'm just like, what the? And look, okay, and real quick, because I'm gonna post up this comment real quick, because I see Shefty Hater says I never took it that seriously. Okay, right? You're not supposed to, right? You're not supposed to take this film seriously. Why? Because it's absurdist comedy, right? Here's the thing, though. The things we watch and the media we um the things we watch and the media we consume influence us whether you like it or not. It's true. That's scientifically proven. That has been a case. Now, the degree to which it influences us, or inspires us, well, your mileage may vary. That depends on person to person and on content on content. No, violent material doesn't necessarily create violent people. No, it doesn't. It does tend to create um what's the term I'm looking for? Uh Bear with me. Yeah, violent video games, violent movies, violent comics, all that type of stuff does not create violent people. No, it doesn't. It tends to create desensitized people, though. Notice that. So, yeah, I get your comment, dude. I get your comment, right? The point being, though, dude, I could never. And real quick, shout out to my man Trent with the $2 super chat. Yeah, exactly. I just could never get behind the premise. I just could not wrap my brain around it. I couldn't, right? And then, of course, upon seeing the film, right, the romance doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't. The romance makes no fucking sense whatsoever, right? Scott is so fucking pathetic. It it is sad. It's very sad. And then there's the whole thing about like the girlfriend he actually does have at the beginning of the movie, which is a fucking, I think they did establish that she is 18 years old, but the girl is barely fucking legal, right? Like he's a college age kid dating like a fucking high schooler, and a high school Asian chick, like an Asian prep school. I'm like, dude, this is such a fucking dude. This is a dweeb's wet dream. It's a dweeb's wet dream, and it's so fucking dude. That's dude. Real talk. That's borderline pedophilia, bro. It really is. It's all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Let's move on. Let's move on. So yeah, none of the romances work in this film. None of them work in this film. None of them make any. None of them work. None of them work. They're all superficial, superficial as fuck. Maybe that's the point because if you think about it, just like it is a video game, right? Like Mario and Princess Peach don't really have the most flourishing, well written, well developed relationship, right? Like it is superficial. We understand that, right? Um, but at the end of the day, that's pretty much what it all boils down to. Ramona as a character, terribly written, does not accept responsibility for anything she does, doesn't really accept accountability for the role she plays within the course of the narrative. And then at the end of the film, we just write it off as mind control. Really? Yeah, that's what we did. That's what we did. Um, that's what she, yeah, that's pretty much what they did. Um, and it pretty much boils down to by the end of the film, she's just a trophy. Just like Princess Peach is and Super Mario Brothers. She's just a trophy. That's all it is. Just a cute little piece of ass. That's all that is. That's all that is. Um, it's pretty terrible. Pretty terrible. Um, I don't want to spend too much time talking about Scott. Like I said, he's the dweebiest, most pathetic, sackless. Just I don't want to. I don't want to harbor on that. Let's talk about the cat. You know what was fun? Well, okay. Some of the supporting characters are actually done fairly well. Some of them are. Scott's roommate is not one of them. That is one of the meanest sons of bitches I have seen in a film in quite some time. I don't understand how he is friends with Scott. I would argue, based off of what we are given in the film, that he isn't actually Scott's friend. He's just his roommate because this son of a bitch is mean. He is very mean, but he has good dialogue. He has good dialogue. Because his rib when he ribs Scott, oh yeah, it's tongue in cheek as a motherfucker. He on point, but oh god, I just remembered because here's the thing. Once again, these characters are hyper archetypes. They're stereotypical as shit. The film knows that because the film works within a meta narrative, like it's very self aware. The problem with that though is, okay, let's talk about some of this humor. Oh my god, the gay jokes, dude, dude, dude. And this movie came out in 20, dude. The gay jokes made me cringe. Me, of all people, made me cringe. The racist jokes. What the fuck? Right? What the fuck? Right? And people ate this shit up. And keep this in mind, 2010, we were in a PC culture in 2010, all right? I mean, it's not as bad as it is now, but we were still, doing the whole politically correct bullshit in 2010. But oh my god, dude, There are jokes in this film I wouldn't even make, right? And for the record, I have like, alphabet. Let me not say alphabet club, right? Because that okay. I have homosexual friends, right? I wouldn't even say some of the shit that's said in this movie. I would not. Uh, damn, damn. So, dude, I can laugh about it because it's so bad. Like, it's not even good jokes, right? It's poor taste jokes. Um, but then again, that's and no, it's not edgy comedy. No, it is not edgy comedy. It is tasteless comedy. It's not written well. It's not written well. Um, it's not. It's not written well. It. I will give this comparison for you all. If you are a fan of Tosh Point oh or most of like the Comedy Central original comedy, you'll like the comedy in this movie because that's sort of the demographic that this film was written for. I don't watch Comedy Central, for the record. I don't. I can't stand Comedy Central. Um, I'm not the targeted demographic for that network. I'm not the targeted demographic for those programs. That humor does not resonate with me, and the humor in this fucking movie, same thing. I chuckled at some. I chuckled at some just because of how harsh the shit is. But dude. All right. Let's see what else. All right. Just real quick, just because we got to go ahead, we got to wrap this thing up real quick. So other things I want to talk about. In terms of the actual like plot, right? Like the progression of the narrative. I mean, it operates like a video game, right? There are a lot of I don't want to go as far as to say contrivances as I will say coincidences. There are a lot of fucking coincidences. And I'll say this to say that the film takes place in, I think, Toronto. Dude, Toronto's a pretty big fucking city, right? You wouldn't think it from this movie. This movie makes it seem like like the whole story happens like within this small town, which we know that's not the case because they change location multiple times and they have like these venues and what. Granted, because they're like garage bands, so it's like these hole in the wall type, dive bar venue type thing. But dude, to say that it's the city of Toronto, the population's really fucking small, and how everybody is sort of connected to everybody and everybody knows everybody is kind of fucking weird, especially when you take in consideration that like the way the story should have played out is that it's Scott's world and it's Ramona's world. And those two people are the vehicles through which their worlds collide. But we find out later that's not true because they have all of these like mutual, like they know all of the same people. They have all these mutual contacts, all of this like shared history with other people. And I'm like, dude, this is convenient as fuck, isn't it? Right? Like it's real easy to get the ball rolling on a lot of shit when like yeah, Ramona already knows who that person is. She's met that person before. Oh, this person is connected to one of Scott's friends here, or Scott's sister know this guy, and I'm like, really? Yeah, so, very video game-ish. Very. I don't know if the graphic novel is done like that, but yeah. Very convenient. There are a lot of conveniences. Um, oh man, and then yeah, because I mean, dude, because even the whole Gideon being the one who is not only behind the the evil exes thing, but then he's also the producer behind the fucking Battle of the Bands. That's convenient as shit. What is it? Scott's roommate's favorite actor is one of the evil. That's convenient as shit. You see what I'm saying? Oh, and then is it what is it? Is it three of the evil exes are in the Battle of the Bands? I think 3 of them, the twins. I think, yeah, Brandon Roths. Maybe it's 4 of them are in the fucking Battle of the Bands. And the whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, dude, if that was the case, why not just write it to where the Battle of the Bands is the vehicle through which Gideon is orchestrating this tournament, as opposed to them kind of being separate things that end up. You see what I'm saying? Like, why not just make the fucking Battle of the Bands a big front for the tournament? Because that makes more sense if you were going to do that, right? It's not my job to rewrite the fucking movie, so we'll just go ahead and move on. We'll just move on. And finally, that brings me to the music. I'm not a fan of that music. I like rock music. I don't even mind like indie or grassroots type of rock music, but this type of fucking music in this movie, not a fan. Not a fan. It's not my yeah, it's not my taste in music. Not a fan. Um, a lot of it. I mean, I know this is going to sound fucking offensive and absurd as fuck when I say this. A lot of it just sounds like noise. All right, so yeah, like a okay, guys. So let this. I'll be honest, man. This ain't even my best review. It was very difficult to talk about this movie. It was very difficult to talk about this movie. It was very difficult to try and talk about it as objectively as I possibly could because I have so many issues with it. I'm not the targeted audience for this film at all. Which for a lot of like my friends, and I'm pretty sure for a lot of my viewers, a lot of my, a lot of you guys who watch this, y'all, I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all might think it's like Larry, dude, otaku assemble, right? Like like, dude, this is totally you. I was never that big of a fucking nerd. I was never that big of a fucking nerd. I'm sorry. I was never a Scott Pilgrim. I was never that big of a fucking nerd. I just wasn't. I just wasn't. Um, yeah, I just wasn't. I'm better looking. I'm more talented. I damn sure got better fucking social skills. Um, yeah, and I'm able to. I I just I was never that big of a fucking dweeb. I just wasn't. I can't relate to it. I can't relate to it. I just can't. I can't. Um, I just can't. I can't relate. I can't relate. Uh, yeah. It, yeah. Yeah. So no. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I This film was not made for me. It wasn't. All right. The film was not made for me. I'm not its demographic. I'm not who it was meant for. Um, oh man, this was a rough fucking review, man. Honestly, dude, it just feels like I just spent 38 minutes just ragging on this fucking movie, dude. Um, I just, yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like I just ragged on this movie, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to, but it was requested. It was requested, so I had to talk about it. And I didn't want to do this, man. I didn't want to have to do this. I didn't want to have to do this. So, all right, guys. So um, yeah, I'm that's pretty much my thoughts. That's my thoughts on the movie, guys. I tried. Yeah, I tried to talk about it as best I could. I tried. And like I said, man, that's kind of that's kind of the tough part of this gig, right? Because if you legit do not enjoy something, it's really hard to try and be like as objective as you possibly could about it. It's hard. It's hard because because you're um because you're biased. Your biases they kick in, bruh. They kick in. Um, and I tried. So, all right, man. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to since it is a live show, I'm gonna go ahead and uh I'm going to go ahead and address some of the questions in the chat. Please feel free to drop some questions in the chat now. But just so you guys know, I'm only going for tonight's stream. I'm only taking questions related to the film, unless you do a super chat. If you do a super chat, I answer your question regardless of what it's about. So, yeah. Let me go ahead and get my graphic pulled back up. Why the hell is that open? I don't know why that was open. All right. Why is that open? Why is this open? Goodbye. All right. So let's see what is going on. Okay. Okay. All right. And let me change. I tell you what, so I could get the comments up. All right. So this is from my man B Fish. Brian, what's happening? Did you go to the opening night at the Grand? No, I didn't, man. Like I said, I didn't see this until it came out on Blu-ray. Um, Shout out to Misty 306. Dijon, did I ever read the comics of it? I did not. I did not. Like I said, the premise alone just was a huge turnoff. Missy 306, it's not a manga. It's not a manga. It's not. It's not a manga. Uh, let's see. Trent, I see your comments. Actually, no, man. By the time when Chris Evans did this film, he was actually one of the big names. He was one of the big attractions to the film. Nah, Chris Evans had already cut his teeth in Hollywood um, before this movie came out. Like when this movie came out, Chris Evans had been already acting for at least 7 years, if not longer. Actually, it might be even longer than that. Cause Chris Evans like first like mainstream film was I think Cellular, and that was in '03. I think Cellular was in '03. So yeah, Evans had been around at least 7 years before this movie. Because remember, this was after the Fantastic Four movies. This was after the Losers. This was after well shit. This was right before Captain America. This because yeah, this came out the year before Captain America came out. But no, Chris Evans was already a name. Um, let's see. Really? It's based on working through emotional baggage. B Fish, whose emotional baggage? Um, this one's from Dijon. So you always like an alpha male protagonist. I prefer them. If I can get it, I'll take it. Dude, for the record, I know what you mean when you say alpha male protagonist, dude. Don't be facetious. You don't be facetious. If you mean that I don't like male protagonists who are bitches, I don't. But that does not mean that we can't start a character from a place and they end up getting to somewhere more desirable. Like I said, to use the Flash for an example, if Barry, like I'm talking about Grant Gustin's The Flash TV series, right? Like Barry's he's pretty much a bitch in season one. My problem was he never grew out of that. If that was just him in season one and he had matured throughout the other seasons, no issue from me. But he never did. So yeah, don't be facetious, dude. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. You know what I mean. Don't do that. Um. Uh, this one's from Sam Collins. I mainly like it for the filmmaking and stylistic choices, and the fact that I like Edgar Wright as a director. Dude, I like Edgar Wright too. That was one of the most disappointing things about this movie. Like, I'm like, Edgar Wright made this. I, I'll be, dude. I'm shocked, right? Shocked, right? Um, and okay, so B Fisher. Okay, so yeah, there's a bunch of stuff from the books that isn't in this movie, and that's what I heard. That's what I heard. I always heard from fans of the graphic novel that the graphic novel was much better because I'll give it that credit. I'll give it that credit. I did always hear that. Yes, I always heard that the graphic novel was better. Once again, though, I'm reviewing the film, not the graphic novel, though. So kudos to the graphic novel. Yes, maybe air quote. Also, you know what? I will give a kudos to the graphic novel because I do remember because the graphic novel ended like right after this movie came out was when the last issue came, the last like volume of Scott Pilgrim came out. And from what I heard about how it ends, I'm like, good riddance. Um, because from what I heard, once again, we're talking about this was 10 years ago, so correct me if I'm wrong. Feel free in the comments. But Scott dumps Ramona at the end of the graphic novel. He's like, you know what? I'm done with this shit, and he bounces. And I'm like, good for you, good for you. That ain't in this movie though. Um, this one's from Dijon as well. So, what's your type of romantic movie, dude? I'm gonna let you know what my favorite romantic film is right now. Love and Basketball. That's all. That's my favorite romantic film. It's Love and Basketball. Yep. Um, it was for the most part faithful to the comic. This one's from Z Slayer 27. It was for the most part faithful to the comic, but Scott was an asshole who used and threw away people at will, and Ramona Flowers was the same. And by the end, they become not so effed up. Oh snap! This one's from Misty 06, 306. I made a mistake of showing this movie to elementary school age children I babysit. Good news, the lingo went over their head. Better news, they didn't like the movie. Bad news, I'm a bad role model. Scream beforehand? Maybe. Um, yeah, DeJohn gets it. Yes. Most edgy comedy isn't well written. It's just making a joke of taboo subjects. And let's be real, dude, like I said, I likened some of the humor in this film to like Tosh Point oh. Like if you've ever watched that shit show, it's all shock value. It's what's the most shocking thing I can say? What's the most offensive thing I can say right now? Oh, let me say that. That's not comedy, dude. That's that's not comedy. You can have comedy that says like shocking or talks about taboo stuff that's done much better in much better taste in much dude, I mean come on dude, dude, when I talk about like motherfuckers who do this like wet granted maybe this isn't a fair comparison because I'm talking about some of the dude, go look at any Richard Pryor, go look at any Eddie Murphy, right? They talk about taboo stuff all the time, but look at the way they do it, right? It's clever. It's tasteful. It's done well. Even some of the shit that might make you a little kind of cringe, at least it's fucking funny, right? Yeah, but George Carlin's another one, but George is more in your face with it though, right? Like George is more blatant with it. Um, but he always sticks his landing. His punchlines always hit. Um, Lewis Black is another good one too. Um, no, I did not play the video game. I should have pulled up the comments on my t- second monitor. That way, I wouldn't have to be straining my eyes so much. Um, Sam Collins. Yes, I have, dude. I've seen all of those movies, dude. My favorite one is Baby Driver. I fucking love Baby Driver. Baby Driver is great. And I'm not the biggest fan of I forget the name of the what they call the trilogy, but like Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. I forget the name of the trilogy. Like I'm not the biggest fan of those, but dude, even when I saw Shaun of the Dead, I thought it was funny. Right? When I saw Hot Fuzz, I thought it was funny. But Baby Driver is my favorite one. Like hands down, that is a great fucking movie. Oh, that movie's so good. Um, so okay, all right. So that okay, yeah. So that's about all the comments. Yeah. So like I said, guys, this one was rough. I know it was. It was probably rough to sit through. It was rough for me. It really was. It was a rough dude. I couldn't even watch the movie on one sitting. I watched the first hour and then I took like a week off and then came back and watched the second hour. I couldn't even watch it all in one sitting. Yeah, 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 yeah. It was rough. It was rough to watch. It was rough to review. Definitely not my best review. I'll be honest. This one was not my best review. Um, yeah, I mentioned that earlier in the review. Yes, this movie would have served much better as an animated feature, dude. Even if it was like an animated series, I think would have actually I think that would have worked best if it was an animated series. That would have worked best because that way you actually could have taken your time and adapted all of the graphic novel, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That would have been the ideal medium for an adaptation. Yes, animated series. Or dude, you know what's funny? Even if you were going to do live action, like if this was like one of the comedy series on like FXX, I think it could have worked there. Because FXX is doing a lot of this style of like productions, right? Even there, I think it would have been better served if it was like a one of those series than as a standalone like movie. Um, Yeah, adult. Oh, yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Yeah, Adult Swim did an animated short. Yeah, like if this was on Adult Swim or something, yeah, sure. I probably still wouldn't have watched it. Excuse me. Yeah, I probably still wouldn't have watched it because, like I said, it's the material just doesn't appeal to me. All right, guys. Yeah. I, that being said, that being said, I do still want to go ahead and thank OAW patron Double O Soldier once again. I was kind of upset with you when you requested this. I was kind of mad. I was a little mad. I was like, for real, bro, you gonna do me like that? Um, but I still appreciate the request. I still appreciate you supporting the channel. Thank you so much. Um, I I do got that next one too, bruh. That hey, if y'all thought, man, the next review, bruh, the next review is gonna be so WTF. Once again, it's another request from Double O Soldier, man. This movie, dude, get this. I wasn't even sure I was going to review the movie on the channel. That's how out of the box this movie was. I was like, dude, I don't even think I should review this on the channel because I've never reviewed anything like that. It is that out of the box. Very much out of my wheelhouse. Very much out of my wheelhouse. But yeah, but like I said, no, it's not 50 Shades of Grey. No, it's not 50 Shades of Grey. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because I wouldn't review 50 Shades of Grey. I probably wouldn't. I would probably say, thank you for supporting the channel. I will refund you your money. Nah, I probably wouldn't do 50 Shades of Grey. I probably wouldn't. Nah, nope, probably wouldn't. No 50 Shades of Grey. No Twilight. No The Host. No. Well, I don't know about what is it? Um what is it? It's what's the name of the Hunger Games knockoff? Insurgents or whatever. I might review those. I don't know. I heard they're all terrible, but maybe. Um, but yeah, no, the next one is gonna be like WTF, like Larry, what the hell are you doing? But like I said, once again, want to go ahead, thank Double O Soldier for the request. And once again, as a reminder to you all, if you guys have a request for a movie that you would like to see reviewed right here on OAW Entertainment, become a patron of OAW at patreon.com/OAW and select the Blockbuster tier. Link is in the description box below. Um, and yeah, no, it's not Magic Mike. No, it's not Magic Mike. I'm not necessarily opposed to reviewing that one. I'm gonna be real with y'all though. If I gotta watch fucking Magic Mike, I'm gonna be spending the whole motherfucking movie trying to figure out what these dudes' training regiment was for that fucking movie. I kid you not, dude. That's kind of like my thing now. Whenever I see like really built dudes, I'm like, what the fuck? How much does he bench? Man, I bet you he could do a whole bunch of pull-ups. It's like, I wonder what his max squat is. How many reps does he do though? Does he do a lot of reps or does he do a lot of weight? It's like, what is his cardio regimen? Because it's just a habit I have now. Ever since I started working out my damn self, like that's just my default now. It's like I went to Circus Soleil last summer, and the whole time I'm watching the big buff strongman, I'm like, dude, what does that motherfucker eat? Like, man, it's like how many times a day does he eat? Like, what is his weight? I was like, man, I bet that motherfucker can squat a lot. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's just the thing now. Anyway, so yeah, no, it's not Magic Mike. It is not Magic Mike. Stop trying to figure out what the next movie review is. You guys are just gonna have to wait. But just so you know, I will be back. I will be on this Friday for a new top 5 that will be live this Friday night. But next Tuesday is going to be the next movie review. Also keep an eye out because I got some Let's Plays dropping tomorrow and Thursday. Tomorrow will be the first Batman Telltale Season 2 video will be up tomorrow, and then Thursday I'm picking back up with Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. That'll be up on Thursday, and then like I said, we will be doing a live top 5 on Friday. I'm actually going to see if I can get my man Khalil in for that one because it is his request. It's his request. So, which is another. If you guys have a top 5 video that you guys would like to see me do, become a patron. Patreon.com/OAW, and it's available at just the $15 tier. Oh, guys, and for the record, whether it's top 5 tier, whether it's the blockbuster tier, keep in mind that with your donation, you also get, number 1, you get the video. Number 2, you get the live shout out on the video. Number 3, you get access to the OAW Vault, which is now, I think, at over 50 uploads. We got over 50 uploads of OAW classic videos. You get access to that. And you also get access to any Patreon exclusive content, which right now I think I am at, let's see, I got 3 Let's Plays. I got 7 commentaries, I think. So there are there's like over 10 hours of exclusive content that is available on Patreon as well. So, and you get all of that with your video request at all of those tiers. So once again, consider becoming a patron. Once again, that is patreon.com/OAW. And with that being said, this has been Larry Williams, OAW. Nick, what you doing, bro? The video is ending, dude. What are you doing? What are you doing?
It's funny. I just came by and I'm on patrol too, if y'all noticed. I mean, how y'all doing?
We're done. We're getting ready to leave.
Ah, shit. My bad.
I was just doing the closing.
It's all right.
Dude, pop in on Friday. Top 5 on Friday.
Oh, what's on top 5 for what?
Y'all gonna love this. Top 5 anime fights.
Ooh, so I gotta bring up a list of that.
Top 5 anime fights.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Because that'll be definitely my day off. Because where they got me working here is pretty interesting.
I feel you. Yeah, man. Pop in. Well, at least I get to show everybody that I put up the Scott Pilgrim background and stuff in the back. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, pop in Friday.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. Later. All right. Okay. So as I was saying, with that being said, this has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief. I'm signing off, and I will catch you cats later. Peace.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you